I am Iron Man. I held the false notion that I could operate on 2 tracks and run them both at the same time and neither would suffer.
Thank you. We need a walkway to get to court.
Watch out, this grass thing back
Excuse me, can we get to court?
We have pretty much exhausted, I think, the rehabilitative measures that we can make here. I believe you can do pretty much anything you want to do, but it isn't going to be my decision.
Let alone, I'm not on either track. I'm just a kid who had a predisposition to self-destruction.
Come on now.
Iron Man.
Hey, what's up?
On a serious note there, the last couple of years have been, interesting time for you.
Very interesting.
You're one of these guys I hear these sort of urban legends about.
How are people when they meet you these days? Do you find that people are not quite sure how to approach you?
And I heard that, like, when you do movies, you essentially almost have to work for free because the insurance bond is so high.
You want to work with me, handle the insurance first.
I think they were just a little worried that I might, put a shiv in them or something.
It's kind of like they take a bunch of the dough up front.
He just took 40 cents on the dollar.
And then when I finish the movie and I haven't, snorted half of Bolivia or ruined them.
Or then gave it back to me when I didn't, ruin his movie.
They go, oh, well, thank you. It's not that we don't trust you. Here's your money back. Kind of like that.
Even by Hollywood standards, your rise to stardom has been pretty quick.
You were in the SNL cast, and you were 20 years old when you started on the show.
I know why whales beach themselves.
And did you enjoy that experience up there?
Spider-Man told me! Wow! God, it's a video camera. How'd you guys know? Well, it's like, I think doing live television is probably the most nerve-wracking thing you can do.
Well, that was 1985, and I have no recollection of that year.
I'm not lying. I pump gas. I have a job.
How did you get the job, get the part, try out? What did you do?
It was slight nepotism. He's like, well, get Downey in here.
Your dad has a reputation for being, a very eclectic artist, a very, odd director.
How dare you say that a man could marry his mother and sleep with her?
My dad's a real film aficionado and a great pioneer in his own right.
I said, go see the movie. I mean, you can't take this seriously.
No shit.
If you do, you're a nitwit.
You were in the arts every day, kind of.
What was the first film you were in? Was this one of your dad's projects?
Oh, yeah, the first film I was in, my father got a grant to do this movie called Pound, which is about dogs in a pound.
Have any hair on your bowl?
But I think everyone's dad, they're this kind of like stoic mountain that we can't climb.
I grew up in a family that was doing drugs and trying to be creative. Does that describe your family life?
In a nutshell, for sure.
Didn't your father introduce you to drugs?
Yeah, I was probably 8, 9, 10. As I recall, I was like swinging in a hammock in East Haven, Connecticut, and Dad was lecturing at Colgate University, and there was some guy in the room, and he had a joint, and I just put my hand out, and he came over and put it in my hand, and it was on. It was the missing ingredient for a while.
So what is your life like right now?
Pardon?
Is it for you, dealing with all that, is it a struggle day to day for you?
I mean, the sobriety thing, is it hard? Is it easy? I mean, you getting into it? Is it day by day?
You know what it is? It's mandatory.
I can't change it. It's in the past, and I just focus on doing what I'm doing now, and what I love to do, which is making movies.
A little more difficult than some other actors.
No movie studio would hire the talented but tortured actor.
The truth is, y'all know my path. Basically, it's about having support and some people who hold you accountable.
Tell us about your friendship with Mel Gibson.
Really are.
He's a very good employee.
He makes an excellent houseboy. Let's plug this movie. Yeah. That's what we have to do. Air America is the title.
Gene, watch your controls. You're redlining.
And Mel Gibson is Gene in this film.
He's my big brother. Yeah. He's a real friend.
Did you guys get along all right?
Yeah, he's really great. He's really great. And I couldn't get hired, so he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him.
The Singing Detective.
And he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table.
Robert Downey Jr.'s performance is remarkable. had good things come out of projects before.
You got something, I would say, even better at this particular project. You met a woman that you're now engaged to.
His fiancée is film producer Susan Levine, who stole his heart during the filming of Gothica.
So you look happy? You got a new girlfriend?
You've got a fiance.
I got a fiance,
Yeah.
Susan Levine, soon to be Downey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's great.
We have a picture of you and your girlfriend, Susan.
Hi, honey.
There you go.
That's Susan.
And you've gone all kind of gooey.
We were just screwing 2 hours ago.
Were you leery though of his past when you first started dating? I mean, really?
Well, you have given your wife, Susan, credit for making you the man that you are today.
He's lived a lot of life, but the amazing thing to me is that he's actually incredibly grounded, incredibly normal.
What is it about her that has made you who you are?
Falling in love helps.
A lot. There's something to live for.
Yeah.
And such a nice guy. He makes me laugh like no one can.
He really credits her for his sobriety.
I think eventually you fall into somebody who's kind of like, well, I see that you are a tall order, and let's make it work.
She sort of gave him this ultimatum that if he didn't shape up, she'd be out of there.
Susan said, yeah, don't do it anymore or I'm splitting.
Otherwise, sayonara.
With Chaplin, Robert Downey Jr. proved he had the confidence, drive, and talent to conquer Hollywood. He just didn't have the self-discipline.
Felt like somehow that addiction that Chaplin had was tapped into something inside you.
Just so I know personally, in Chaplin, were you generally like together during Chaplin?
Yeah, and there's nothing better than shooting scenes in Vevey, Switzerland, in old age prosthesis, while you are booming on mushrooms still from the night before. Oh, score! It is a score!
You've said Home for the Holidays is, for me, one of the most relaxed performances in the history of cinema.
Rooting around up inside of schnoz, and obviously this guy's not a big wiper, he smells light.
Yep. What was relaxing you?
Black tar heroin.
Little ladder, get a little fulcrum on that, come flying out of there, and the pus and the blood and the poop
What?
flying out of his nose. I mean, it's Amityville.
And you were high on the set.
That was the first time.
I'm not trying to undermine what is essentially, I guess, an illness, but it kind of sounds like fun in some aspect.
Oh, right up until the cops showed up, it was a blast.
Convicted felon.
1996, the actor violated his probation when he fled from a detox center. His rehab stemming from several drug and weapons arrests, but a judge sent him back. A year later, he skipped a court-ordered drug test and spent the next 4 months in the LA County Jail.
Well, Robert's been in a residential program for the last 120 days.
For past several years, he's just going through the revolving door of rehab program and being arrested. The judge sounded very, very wary of his future. Which is too sad, such a bright person, and he's not a criminal.
You rather candidly said you didn't know whether or not you'd be able to maintain sobriety in that business. That's a call you have to make.
He's a victim of the drugs.
1999, Downey skipped another drug test. A judge gave Downey hard time, state prison for nearly 1 year.
He literally threw the book at me and went for the maximum sentencing allowed, which was a 3-year sentence.
What is it like to be in prison?
The first day I was kind of scared, yeah. It's an unimaginably awful situation.
And so by the time you're in prison, that's not rock bottom for you?
Nope. I just happened to be in a situation the very last time, and I said, you know what, I don't think I can continue doing this.
Tony Stark makes you feel he's a cool exec with a heart of steel. And Iron Man.
I remember sitting down with the guy.
I had just been hired to cast in the first Iron Man. Tell me all the qualities that you think are most important.
And I was like, geez, he just got it in it. He's got that spark in him.
Fast, quick-witted, and funny, and dynamic, and a bit troubled, and confident, and brilliant. And we really kept coming back to Downey.
He's ready. Everybody thinks you're brilliantly talented, and you've had a lot of support.
I said to Jon Favreau, I said, I think I'm the guy for the job. And he goes, you know, I do, and they don't.
And that's when we were in your office and we were pointing to his headshot and saying, we got to try to figure this out.
At some point, that can run out. You ever fear that that goodwill has a bottom?
Robert Downey Jr. at that point in his career wasn't necessarily a family-friendly name.
But at the time, it was, whoa, risky casting Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, of course it runs out. It's like anything, you know, because you're acting like a child, and sooner or later you're going to get grounded.
I was a therapist?
Uh-huh.
It says attorney at law right on the door.
In 2001, Robert won the Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild Awards for his portrayal of Larry Paul in Ally McBeal.
Robert Downey Jr., Ally McBeal.
Most Monday evenings on Fox have shown him to be the most gifted actor of his generation.
As lawyers, we tend to embrace settlements as a good thing. We settle, we celebrate.
Mr. Downey's astonishing work on Ally McBeal may be as good as anything anyone has done on a television series.
We know what we sacrifice in order to give ourselves to this art form. He said when he was writing it, that it was like having a new toy to write for me, and I will do my best to not get sent back to the factory.
Well, maybe we'll meet in court one day.
How did your Ally McBeal career end?
Poorly, if I remember correctly.
Robert had to tell himself this time would be different.
The journey of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe started with the journey of Tony Stark.
They made you really go through the hoops for this. How many times did you audition?
If I'm not on my side for this going my way, why should anybody else be? I said to Jon Favreau, I said, I think I'm the guy for the job. And he goes, I don't think it's going to happen. And I said, well, I'm going to believe it will.
Because he wasn't instantly a slam dunk approval, I suggested we have screen tests.
And then it came down to the screen test, and I went in, and I'm really good at screen testing. Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
but Iron Man, this is even more interesting because maybe you were born to be Iron Man because Iron Man obviously had that from the comic books.
Loosely prearranged destiny. And what's incredible is how far afield you can go from it and still find your way back.
Yeah. Well, there's been the whole superhero genre thing is so interesting to me because there's so many reboots and there's so many, like, how many fucking Spider-Mans have there been? How many Hulks have there been?
Yep.
There's only one Iron Man though. You got that.
Thus far. What year is it?
Thus far. Get the fuck out of here. You're Iron Man, man. It's just like there's certain dudes just own a role. And if anybody else tried to be Iron Man, we'd be like, nah.
Well, interestingly enough, East Coaster, a dad of some renown, very different. My dad was a kind of a underground filmmaker, auteur maverick. I grew up definitely being Bob Downey Sr.'s kid. Spent time on Long Island, which is, I think, where Tony was raised.
Yeah.
But when Stan Lee was really thinking that through, it was the Vietnam era, and he was thinking about the military-industrial complex. He was thinking about, how about if I can throw a little bit of, not politics in here, but karma, and he gets shrapnel by the own thing, and it becomes, So, and then, of course, there was the whole demon in the bottle. I think he was the first superhero who ever, had that, almost hang up his jersey because he was hammered.
Yeah.
So, there was obviously, but again, once something goes your way, you can draw all the parallels you want, and you can call it destiny. But it was something that I definitely felt drawn to, and I definitely fought for. And looking back on it, I go, why was I fighting for that? Because it turned out to be a pretty special thing.
Wow.
Maybe next time you scramble F-22s against me, I just might not play defense.
I just went completely bats on it. I don't want to call it an out-of-body experience, but it was one of those rushes.
Weapons that I built are being used to kill innocent people. Can't let that happen.
That I'm sure somebody would feel if they're about to play a big sporting arena.
I'm gonna get back to work. See yourself out. You remember the door, right?
I was just thinking, this is me, and I am in this situation. Like I just studied the text and thought of everything I could do better than anyone else. For that one instant, I had to psych myself into that nobody else on earth had a chance.
It's ghastly, the conditions. There's not a woman in sight.
I'm a woman.
Yes, clearly.
It's that thing when you only have to focus on one thing for 3 weeks.
Wow, you really have all of this down. You ever lose an hour of sleep your whole life?
I was too prepared. I was too confident. You're never going to get me in the sack with that attitude. Crudité?
The truth was, we got to a point that we realized if we didn't cast him, that would have been the biggest risk.
The rest is history. I am Iron Man.
And Robert Downey Jr.
It wasn't really until we cast Robert that I fully understood what the take was.
I think that's probably one of the greatest decisions in the history of Hollywood.
When Iron Man first lifted off in 2008, it made a whopping $585 million worldwide.
He's in the #1 movie in America right now.
Slight correction, it's not the #1 movie in America, it's the #1 movie worldwide.
That success launched Robert Downey Jr. into the rarefied air of Hollywood A-listers.
But in a career often overshadowed by his troubled personal life, how has Downey defied impossible odds to stage the biggest comeback in Hollywood history?
You can draw all the parallels you want, and you can call it destiny. I'm just not the hero type.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Inventor. With this laundry list of character defects, all the mistakes I made, largely public. East Coaster, a dad of some renown. Thank you.
What's your food weakness?
Cheeseburgers. I want an American cheeseburger.
Maybe you were born to be Iron Man.
I think that actors do the films they're meant to do. Loosely prearranged destiny. And what's incredible is how far afield you can go from it and still find your way back. If it's all for nothing, then it's a tragedy.
We have pretty much exhausted, I think, the rehabilitative measures that we can make here.
Dig myself an early grave in this. I better calm the hell down. Because it's too easy to jump on that wagon of it's a disease and my brain's been hijacked.
It's not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems.
Past a certain point, you have to stand up inside yourself and change.
I believe you can do pretty much anything you want to do. But it isn't going to be my decision.
You are saying that it's not that difficult?
No. What's hard is to decide.
Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day and saying to yourself, it's not over until I win.
And the Oscar goes to Robert Downey Jr.
What you just saw, that is your legacy, star. Is that how you want to go out? Is this the last act of defiance of the great Tony Stark?
truth is, I am